Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Credit Bank Small Business Spotlight. And as you already know, on this channel, we love to put the spotlight on inspiring business owners. We're going to learn their stories. They're going to share what drives their success. This episode is sponsored by Credit Bank, where you can get up to $500,000 in working capital with monthly payments in less time it takes you to drive to the bank. I am your host, Irv Cruz, and today I have a very special guest. I'm excited to hear her story. I am joined by Amber Burr. She is the co-founder and brand storyteller behind Daddy's Homemade. It's an Evergreen, Colorado-based company redefining syrup as a clean, nostalgic pleasure. Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having us. I'm excited to share a little bit more about our story and syrup, not just for pancakes and breakfast foods.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm finding that out now because when I was looking at your profile and realized that it was put into like lattes and even drinks and cocktails. I've been to a bar or two in my days, not so much anymore, but I've never seen anybody pull up a bottle of Smucker's syrup and put it into a drink. So I want you to share that with us. So let's start from the beginning. What was that moment that convinced you to ditch store-bought syrups and start blending your own?
That is a great question. My husband had some health issues, so we started taking a closer look at some of the ingredients that we were consuming. And one of the first things we realized was how much high fructose corn syrup was in the big giant jars and artificial ingredients too. Big giant jars of the pancake syrup we used to buy, the Mrs. Butterworth's, Aunt Jemima's, whatever they're called now. Realized how much artificial stuff was in there. So my husband put it back on the shelf one day, decided he was going to make his own, and found a simple syrup recipe from his grandma. So we started with some vanilla and some maple and just some pure cane sugar, water, natural extracts, and used it on our pancakes and French toast and breakfast foods for about 2 years before we realized it was great in all kinds of other things. And our friends and family convinced us to turn it into a business.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. So now you have this dream, you have this vision of launching your business. And, as our viewers know, and most business owners know, when you're launching a business, it could be a little, capital intensive, and you need, resources to launch that vision and dream. So how did you manage that early on? And maybe some of our listeners can get an idea of what it was like for you in the start of your journey.
Absolutely. It was not a dream in the beginning. I was working full time. We had 2 kids and I was pregnant with my third. Okay. So the idea of starting a business was not on the plate at all. We actually decided to sell. My oldest daughter was about 5 or 6 at the time, and she hand drew our original logo. So the logos are 3 kids on there. And we had, she hand drew each one of our logos, 6 jars from Amazon, and we sold them at a garage sale. So it was not capital intensive. It was very, let's just try this and see what happens, because my husband was not convinced that anybody was going to buy it. He thought we were just, being nice that we loved the product. So we actually sold out 6 that first day and at our garage sale, and just slowly expanded from there, just bootstrapping it from the very beginning and just doing some small markets and events around town with some of our savings, and just kind of, my mother-in-law was a huge help. She wanted to purchase our first 6 jars and kind of start us from there, and just kept going little bits at a time.
So when you had the garage sale, did you have like the little plastic cups with like a little sample that they can taste, or they just went in and bought it and said
small little 4-ounce jars? And I said, my daughter hand drew these logos, and my husband made this syrup. It's great for your pancakes. It doesn't have any artificial stuff in it. And they're like, great, we'll try it. We did it cheap, just a few dollars, or I think it was like $4 or $5 or something like that. And they're like, sure. So that's where it all started. Little did we know, 5 years later now, we're going into food service. We've got local bars, restaurants, coffee shops using it. We sell retail, wholesale, farmers markets, our website. Little did we know what we were going to be doing.
So let's talk about that. So from the garage sale where you sold, just a few units. So what? Let me step back for a second. When did you get the idea to probably, at that point you said, okay, we can turn this into a business. So now the next thing is, how are we going to market ourselves? How are we going to get our name out there? How are we going to, differentiate ourselves from the brands that are already out there? And how are we going to, send that message out there loud enough via our marketing?
Every idea that I had about that got thrown out the window because it was February 2020 and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
Then I had to quickly regroup and pivot and all the things before I even knew what we were doing. So I quickly learned a lot more about social media and local word of mouth through local chamber of commerces. And luckily we were a food product, so we were able to still do some farmers markets. We could not do samples, so we had some little mini jars that we were able to use so that people could not try it on site, but they could not have to commit to larger jars. And so we had to, like the rest of the world, just figure out what was going to work and keep building that, which actually worked out nice because I was full-time still working, and my son was born, and we were able to slowly kind of build that brand recognition while I was doing all of those other things.
So they're very minimal ingredients.
Yes.
It's pure cane sugar,
yes,
water, and natural extracts, right?
Exactly.
So how do you maintain shelf stability without resorting to artificial preservatives? I think that's pretty interesting.
Anybody could Google how to do a simple syrup recipe, and it's very basic, very simple. That recipe, usually I've seen it last for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months at the most. You probably have to refrigerate it, and it doesn't last any longer than that. My husband decided, once we realized we were turning it into a business, he spent about 2 years of that time when we were kind of playing with it with our family, perfecting the recipe. We've actually had to change the recipe 2 or 3 times to get it to be more shelf stable and to be FDA compliant and all of that without having to add those preservatives and everything in there. So it's just a matter of kind of figuring recipes with the temperatures and right mixtures and lots of patience.
And with that, how do you develop or come up with, the different flavors without the use of those preservatives?
It's pretty easy, actually. It's all just extracts. So it's the same base recipe. Okay. And then we just change the flavors with the extracts. So and then we do test batches and figure out how strong all of our flavors, we try to have just enough flavor to be flavorful without it being that in your face that you sometimes get with a lot of the artificial stuff that's out there.
Right.
So yeah, we do the test batches beforehand, and we give it out to some customers and make sure that it's what everybody else likes too. And then we start jarring it up and putting it on our website.
So let's talk about, syrup is more, for more than just pancakes. And as we mentioned earlier, I just found out that you can put it in lattes and also drinks. So was there some sort of trend that you discovered that was emerging in cafes and cocktail bars, this year, last year? Or when did that happen for you?
I feel like each year the flavor trends and the creativity with people since COVID has definitely expanded each year, and the coffee industry and just being creative with recipes has definitely grown each year. For us, it was actually not necessarily trends, but our 3 kids that wanted to experiment and help us try different things.
Right.
My son loves it on popcorn and chicken nuggets, for example. So
really?
They're my favorite taste testers.
Syrup on popcorn and chicken nuggets? Yeah. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, things I would not have thought about, but it has worked out great. And the kids are brutally honest. So I love that.
Yeah. So now you got this great idea. You see people are warming up to the recipe and the flavor. You've got your marketing plan in place. Early on and even now, what are some of the biggest hurdles or challenges that you have faced or are currently facing, and how are you overcoming those challenges?
I think one of the biggest hurdles that I have found is I was always raised and grown up to have the mindset that I could do anything I wanted to if I put my mind to it. As we have grown with the business, I have learned that I can't do it all and I need help to be able to grow the business and do it what I want to do to expand it. So having that community and finding other local small businesses out there and just making that connection with the community and talking to people that have been where we've been at and getting mentors and working together with people has been a real eye-opener for me that has changed everything for us, for sure.
Now, you have some partnerships also with, I was reading in your profile, with local roasters and mixologists. How does that affect your R&D for new syrups?
It's challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's got its advantages and disadvantages. My husband has actually made over 100 flavors. Scaling that up is next to impossible because it's just my husband and I. If we had, a team and, $1 billion marketing budget or whatever, that'd be a different story. But so we have had to scale back some of our flavor to, have our core flavors and figure out how all of that plays into current market trends and customers and seasonality of flavors and how to scale that as we keep growing.
So how many total flavors do you have now?
We have 21 core flavors and then 3 seasonal flavors.
Oh, wonderful. So how do you, go ahead, please.
With some of the current customers we have, we kind of do custom flavors with them as well. If they, minimum order requirements and they want to do something fun for their coffees or their menu items or whatever it might be, then we work with them and try to figure that out for them. Okay.
So you've been in business officially as a business for about 5 years.
Yep.
Right. What would you share with our viewers is the absolute greatest achievement or biggest accomplishment thus far?
I would say our biggest accomplishment is figuring out our why behind our business. When we first started, like I said, we had no intention of turning it into a business. It was a delicious product. Everybody loved it. And now it's become so much more. We've really realized how much community and connectivity that our syrups bring with people and being able to hear stories from customers about how it's connecting with either their family at home around the breakfast table or friends and coffee shops or bars, and being able to sit down and enjoy those little moments with people and what that does with our local partnerships as well. Our local bars and restaurants and coffee shops that we've been working with is something I think that we all need to go back to. And it's something that I miss from growing up. And it's something that I'm pretty adamant about showing our kids that can happen and used to happen a lot. And being able to show that and build on that and inspire others has really been a huge piece. I joke that we're leading a syrup revolution and sweetening lives naturally. It's a whole lot bigger mission than when we first started, for sure.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier, that your company was redefining syrup as a clean, nostalgic pleasure. So what role do you think nostalgia plays in modern food marketing? And how do you measure that?
That's a great question. I think it's tough to measure by numbers, but seeing and hearing those stories from customers and businesses alike is really, when you have brands like in flavored syrups, for example, Torani and Monin, some of the big brands that are out there, and people are getting them because they're cheap and because they're mass produced and they're readily available. But then you have customers and businesses that are specifically looking for your brands and will buy them time and time again because it doesn't have the artificial stuff and because of what we're doing. I think that is a huge measure for me that it's working and people are wanting that and they're needing it. And I have learned how many people and businesses are making their own syrups at home because they want that natural aspect of it. They don't want the artificial ingredients. And they want to have some fun, but they don't want to make it every couple of weeks. So that's where we come in. Or they don't want 20 different flavors that they're trying to make at home and then it goes bad before they can use it. So it's great to have that. And our swing top jars make it, a lot of that nostalgia comes back too, because it's not something that you see on shelves. And it's something that kind of brings back some memories for people, which is amazing to hear.
So where do you see Daddy's Homemade in the next 2 to 3 years? Any big growth plans or goals that you have in mind that would propel you to the next level?
Absolutely. We one of the fun things that we did this past year, just a couple months ago, actually, was partnered with the Colorado Arthritis Foundation because of some of the health issues my husband and family have, and didn't realize the extent of the help and the inspiration that we were able to get from that. And we were able to build a team and get some funds donated for the foundation. So definitely building on that each year going forward, and just helping, not just the business, but helping that inspiration with people and being out there in the community. And then as with the business, just being able to expand the education that there are other options out there, that people don't have to just go and buy the products that are on store shelves, or even now it's hard to find products on store shelves because of supply chain. So
right.
Being able to add some extra help for people without having to worry about some of that, I think is, and being able to expand that more into the food service. We actually got accepted to be in a distribution channel right now. So we're working on some of those pieces, and then also possibly out at airports in Colorado. So we'll see what happens. We've had some great things going on.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question. If talk about, the immediate future, the near future, if you had the proper resources and support in place, whether it's, additional funding that you need, or more team members, or, more minds helping you out with your marketing to expand, what would be the very first thing you change in your business, like tomorrow, if you had, that
having
in place?
Having a team so that we're not doing it all. It's been with my husband and I, and having 3 kids on top of health issues and running the small business. It's never a dull moment around here.
Right. And how many members on your team right now?
Having a team would be a game changer. Yes.
How many members on your team right now?
Just myself and my husband. And
Okay.
my mother-in-law helps with packaging. I throw the kids to work sometimes.
Oh yeah, get that help where you can.
But that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's certainly, some opportunities that we can talk about to see what we can do to help you with the building of that team and expanding your marketing. Amber, I can't thank you enough for sharing with us about, Daddy's Homemade and how it's actually, having an impact in people's lives by way of a cleaner alternative to enjoying syrup. I mean, like, who doesn't love, syrup on pancakes, and now with these other applications? So certainly thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So for those that are listening and they want to follow you and they want to connect with you, how would they do so?
Absolutely. We're on most social media channels, just at Daddy's Homemade Syrups. And then our website at www.daddy'shomadesyrup.com.
Oh, wow. There you go. Oh, I like the
And that
bottles.
also links. Yeah. And that also links to all of our social media as well. And it has some wholesale information on there too.
Well, Amber, thank you so much once again for joining us and sharing your story. I'm going to try the syrup. Listen, I don't know if I can get a clean alternative at the market that I get to.
That's okay.
But just to kind of explore maybe, some syrup on a chicken nugget. I know, when you go to like McDonald's, they got honey mustard, they got this honey glazed thingy, but actual syrup, I've never tried that. So I'm probably going to just give that a try and
absolutely. And we can ship anywhere in the United States. So.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. So Amber, thank you once again.
Thank
to
you.
Our viewers, if you've enjoyed this inspiring spotlight, be sure to subscribe and tune in for more. Once again, I'm your host, Irv Cruz, and we'll see you on the next Credit Bank Small Business Spotlight. Amber, thank you for a third time. Wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you so much for having me. I really had a fun time.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch another exciting episode.